Hiya guys, happy Sabbath, happy Saturday, and welcome back to my channel. So the Democratic Alliance has announced their mayoral candidate, and that is Helen Zille. And the stakes are high, especially since people are starting to announce their candidate to be mayors of Johannesburg. In this video, I wanted us to discuss all these candidates that have already been announced so far and who is the strongest amongst them, and whether which party will end up taking the position of the mayor. Let us first start with Patriotic Alliance. Kenny Kunene has been met with a lot of controversies of late, and those controversies including him mingling and finding himself in entanglements with Katiso Molefe, and also there's been rumors that there's a warrant of arrest against him. And also, guys, remember, he's a suspended and there's an investigation against him. And one can ask themselves, what about that investigation? What is Gaten McKenzie going to do with that? Is his candidacy going to be withdrawn when they find that he's guilty? And I think the answer is that this is finality. I don't think that whatever report that is going to come from the Patriotic Alliance will find Gaten McKenzie, will find Kenny Kunene guilty. I think that Kenny Kunene is the candidate to be the mayor. Will they take the position? I doubt that is the case, but we should never underestimate the Patriotic Alliance. The Patriotic Alliance is always getting votes, guys, especially with the by-elections. They are winning wards. So I don't think that Kenny Kunene will run for such an important position in Johannesburg when he has no plan whatsoever. I think that high chances he knows that there's certain wars that are colored dominated, and colored communities are slowly moving from the Democratic Alliance to the Patriotic Alliance because they feel represented. One thing about South Africans is that we always want to feel represented. We always want to feel like those people that we elect have our best interests at heart. And I think the colored community, they feel like they don't have any place to go to, especially when they look at the existing political parties like the EFF, DA, ANC, controversies with party and stuff like that. They are leaning more towards the Patriotic Alliance because the leader there is a colored person, and most of the people in that party are colored, so they feel more represented there. So high chances the colored communities are going to vote for them, but will they get majority? I doubt that is going to happen. So I don't think that the Patriotic Alliance has a strong candidate, especially considering what he has done before. The party, or what makes it even worse is that this candidate is a criminal, and it's so disappointing to see how South Africans, we don't have standards when it comes to our leaders. I know that there's no leader that is tainted, but voting for someone that is a convicted criminal, that is even running around with criminals, I would be very worried of my vote, and I'll be very worried of putting the future of my future and the future of my kids in that man's hands. That is very worrying. Moving right along to the Democratic Alliance. So with the Democratic Alliance, as I've told you, that Helen Zille is the candidate.
We will listen to their frustrations and their ideas to fix it, and we will learn a lot from them. Joburg's people will never give up on her, and I am one of them. We will not let Joburg's taps stay dry. We won't accept brokenness as the new normal. We will wrestle our city back from the criminal mafia and return her to those who love her. When you drive through those potholed roads in the darkness, where every broken streetlight represents a failed promise, I share your despair. It doesn't have to be like this, but it will be if we do not make the choice for change now. The time has come. This time it must be different. It is literally now or never. Let the forces for good in the city unite to save it from the forces for bad. Let's put the darkness behind us. Together we can make the city of gold shine on our country, our continent, and all of the world. That is the Joburg that you dreamt of, and that we will work for, and that you deserve. Hallelujah, Johannesburg! Thank you very much, everybody.
So the Democratic Alliance, when it comes to Helen Zille, people are very much splitted. People, others believe in her, others don't, especially the black community, right? And this is what Prince Mashele said in an interview yesterday about Helen Zille. and her being the mayor.
She reached out to me and said she couldn't believe. I said, yeah, I mean it, Helen. I want you to be mayor of Johannesburg. To answer your question, there is no black person I've spoken to in Johannesburg who said to me, but Prince, you are crazy. How could you do that? Privately. You know what they say? They say, you know what? We will vote for her. We'll vote for her secretly. Yeah. These are my friends. The elites, black. They say, you know what? We will vote for her secretly. You know why? Because they have now seen what the ANC is capable of doing. And they are sick and tired of it. So I think that the country is ready for a Western type kind of governance model. Black South Africans are ready now to co-govern with white South Africans. That's very important.
So according to Prince Mashele, there's black people that are actually willing for Helen Zille to be the mayor. Would Helen Zille be a good mayor? I think that the accusations that she might abandon townships and stuff like that, it's very, very possible. However, what makes me to be very confident that that might not happen in the context of Gauteng is because of the people, the way they are here in Gauteng. In Gauteng, as well as KZN, people act. They don't have the whole day. And if they feel like your governance is very questionable, they take it to the streets. They don't have the whole day. And I don't think that Helen Zille will want to risk her mayorship, or her mayorship be filled with a lot of controversial talks or topics, or her being called a racist, because already she has that tag that she's a racist. Already people are expecting for her to abandon townships like she did with Cape Town, making Cape Town townships to be a dumping site. I doubt that she'd want to do that. When she does that, will I be shocked? No, because we know that in Cape Town she does that. But if she does well, I think that everybody is expecting her to definitely do better than most of these candidates that have already been put out there. And I think that chances she might be a mayor, and also I think that she's definitely going to clean Gauteng. She's definitely going to clean Johannesburg so that it can be more susceptible to attract investment. And what could happen is that she might face a lot of backlash from human rights organizations and NGOs, because one of the things that Helen Zille doesn't like, including the DA, is to have homeless people, informal traders, people just being filled in the streets. And the NGOs always fight against such acts from people like Helen Zille, because there's a lot of bylaws in Cape Town that are hindering people from even sleeping in the streets, especially in the CBD. So I think that with Joburg City, she would want to do the same thing so that it becomes attractive to investors. So I think that Helen Zille knows what she's getting herself into, and she's probably the strongest candidate amongst the ones that have already been suggested, who've already been appointed so far. So, I very am curious to see what she has to bring to the table. Am I open to a leadership? I am. 50-50 chances she can do well. Would I be shocked if she becomes mayor? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Now let's just say she doesn't get the position, but she gets enough votes to get into a coalition. Who she get to a coalition with? Definitely the ANC. Hence we saw Cyril Ramaphosa very much vouching for her.
Well, when I spoke about what we need to do, I referred to the Auditor General's report. Auditor General issues reports every year, and the Auditor General correctly so looks at all our municipalities, and in some areas she has found that though there are municipalities that have clean audits, and I cited what she has always said publicly, that municipalities, for instance in the Western Cape, have clean audits. But in the end, Mzwai, clean audits does not mean clean streets. Clean audits does not mean the best governance. It's a compliance issue. There are quite a number of ANC-run municipalities that have clean audits. Now, we need to look at this issue in a comprehensive way, or in a broader context. There's the compliance issue and there's the transformative issue.
Yes.
Now, when, and I know that many people in the DA got very excited and said, yeah, the president said this.
Saying that, the DA is doing very well. So I wouldn't be shocked if, she works with the ANC. Will she work with the EFF? I doubt. They've once worked together. It doesn't seem like the relationship went well. But one thing you should understand about politics is that there's a lot of compromises. People compromise. I wouldn't be shocked if they get into coalition government with the EFF at the end of the day. Moving right along to ActionSA, I think right now ActionSA, the best candidate they can give that is going to go head to head with Helen Zille is Helen Mashaba. Would Helen Mashaba do well? Very probable. Helen Mashaba, remember that he was once a mayor some time and he did really well. Helen Mashaba doesn't like illegal immigration. One thing you should know about South Africans, they don't want illegal immigration. So he's going to deal with some of these issues. And during his time as the mayor of Johannesburg, he did really well. And he even faced a lot of litigation from NGOs and human rights organizations because he wanted to clean Johannesburg and make it very clean. Looking at black versus white, people might want to vote more for Helen Mashaba because they think that Helen Zille is more leaning towards the racist part of things, and they will think that Helen Mashaba is better and they know him because South Africans, they like familiarity. Hence, they've been voting for the ANC for years despite them failing to deliver. So I think that since he's more familiar has worked there before, high chances he might get this.
I think it's very important, Aldrin and Newsroom Africa listeners, that Helen, like any other South African, has got the right to contest anywhere where there's a position. So I think ActionSA that has got absolutely no dispute on that matter. However, we have the concern obviously on behalf of millions of black people under her leadership. Before I got to know Helen as a person closely, before I joined politics, and even when I joined politics, and when I started working with the DA, I started seeing some signs from her that got me worried that she carries what I would really regard as some kind of Verwoerdian kind of upbringing and ideology, because she's the person when I was the mayor who actually fought and developed a campaign work with some of the white councillors in the city of Johannesburg to be against me for providing services to poor black communities.
He himself also, he will clean the streets. The only thing difference between him and Helen Zille is that Helen Zille doesn't have a problem with illegal immigrants. Actually, they benefit with illegal immigrations. Whereas Helen Mashaba, on the other hand, he doesn't like illegal immigration. And there's a lot of illegal immigrants that are going to be dealt with, including those buildings and structures in the CBD that are abandoned. And I remember there's a lot of litigations that they faced with regards to their bylaws, some of the things that they agree with. They are anti anything that looks poor. They don't like anything that looks poor because Helen Zille is like Cyril Ramaphosa. They're looking at investment. Investment is important more than anything. So they want to make Johannesburg to be attractive to investors and nothing else. It will start being very expensive. Joburg will be very expensive. You won't get to do that cut of 15 rands anymore. You won't get to do those braids of 100 rands. Those ladies who are always in the streets there by small streets braiding people, I doubt that will still continue happening. There'll be a lot of order and it will be like an investors attraction hub. That's what I think can happen. Helen Zille and Cyril Ramaphosa are more leaning towards the right-wing type of politics, while the EFF are more leaning towards the left-wing politics. Speaking about the EFF has not yet announced its candidate, but I think the way the stakes are so high, they need someone that is very, very strong. Could it be that Julius Malema will want to run, and will his chances be very high? I doubt, because remember that, guys, one of the things you need to understand about South Africans all the time is that they are anti anything that is very much involving illegal immigrants. They don't like illegal immigration. That is why ActionSA will capitalize on that and might be a good candidate to fight Helen Zille head on head, because ActionSA is doing very well in Tshwane, number 1. Number 2, there's a president of Helen Mashaba doing very well in Joburg. Number 3, Helen Mashaba is anti-illegal immigration. And trust me, guys, whether you like it or not, South Africans don't like illegal immigrants, specifically. Hence, they support Operation Tutula. And even Operation Tutula, if they can run. You'll see, guys. I bet you on this. If they can run, especially based on what they've done recently with the clinics, they will get a couple of votes. People are going to start voting for them. Could ActionSA, Operation Tutula work together to defeat the Democratic Alliance? They can try. But I think that Helen Zille is very, very strong, and it's very good for us to acknowledge that. And since he's even getting endorsement from the president himself, and the president is actually endorsing him to become the mayor of Johannesburg, it seems like high chances she'll get this one. Then let us move to the ANC. Seems like the ANC has not yet announced someone, but we're looking at Panyaza Lusufi as well as Dada Morero. They've even prematurely started showing us that road there in Lilian Goyi that experienced that type of situation. I don't know if earthquake or whatever the case may be. And they've given us that road to say, okay, we are done, service delivery, here you have it. But there's a lot of issues. Recently, just last week, there was issues of water, service delivery. They didn't have any plan. So as the ANC currently is very vulnerable and very divided, could they do well? I doubt that they will. And I think that what can happen is that Helen, they'll strike a deal with the ANC if they've not yet already done that. Helen will take Johannesburg and work with the ANC in Johannesburg, for example, with Dada Morero. I think that is probably the thing that might happen. But anything is very possible when it comes to by-election. We can still be shocked. Umkhonto weSizwe Party, they've not really done well when it comes to Gauteng. They've only done well in KwaZulu-Natal. And recently, they've not even been doing well even with KwaZulu-Natal. But I agree with Prince Mashele. There's high chances that 2029 MKP can govern KwaZulu-Natal and get an outright majority.
Sizwe, after the 2029 election, with a majority, without a doubt, provided Zuma is still alive.
So yeah, when you look at all of these parties and the candidates that they've brought forth, Johannesburg, I think that so far Helen Zille is the strongest. And will the EFF put Dr. Mgcini? Dr. Mgcini has already started working, is doing very well. But as for him getting majority, I doubt that will happen. Already South Africans don't acknowledge his work. People acknowledge Nasipi's work more than they acknowledge Dr. Mgcini's work. That is just the reality of it currently. As that is why I'm saying that ActionSA has more chances of winning Johannesburg than the EFF. So I don't know what you guys think. That was my honest review of everything. And do you think that Helen will make a good mayor? Do you think the EFF stands a chance? And if they stand a chance, who should they choose? And then looking at the Patriotic Alliance, do you think the party of criminals will be cancelled, will be mayors of Johannesburg? Do you think Kenny Gonene will take it? And do you think that Helen Mashaba should run for mayor of Johannesburg so that we can have really strong candidates? Guys, Johannesburg, Cape Town and KwaZulu-Natal, they are very, very important provinces there to govern. And if you fail there, you are done. Hence, the DA is coming with this good strategy. They started with Cape Town. Now they are coming to Gauteng through Johannesburg. And they are slowly taking voters. And I think with the ActionSA doing well in Tshwane, these by-elections, especially the candidate for mayor in Johannesburg so far, it seems like it will be Helen Zille versus Helen Mashaba. Who will take it? Nonetheless, let us hear what the EFF will do, who they're going to announce. Let us hear what other parties who they're going to announce, including the ANC, and whether they're going to be strong and whether they're going to be able to withstand people like Helen Mashaba, Helen Zille, Ken Kunene, and so forth. Let me hear your thoughts. I'll see you guys on my next upload.